Right. Wait, I have audio. Can you guys hear me now? That may have been the problem. Hold on. How about now? I switched off the video to my icon, because that may have been causing some lagging issues. Right. Yep, I'm here. That may have been what did it. Oh. Yes. All right. All right. Can you hear me now? Any lag issues? All right, you can hear me. Okay. Awesome. I fixed the problem, and it only took me like 15 minutes. Okay, yeah. So, I got a new microphone recently, and I'm pointing at it right now, but you guys can't hear me because I switched off the video. It was causing lag. Yeah, I got a new microphone, and I did not account for how that would affect OBS. Apparently, I had to switch the settings in OBS, which I did not know because I am bad at streaming. Anywho, welcome to the Chucky Episode 1 reaction live stream. Sorry we're... Oh yeah, comments pouring in. Awesome. Yeah. Alright, so... Anyway. Now we can start. Let me just minimize this. Click out of here. Not now. Firefox, I don't need you anymore. Go away. Go away. Awesome. Okay. Alright, so, as I was saying, you guys may have been wondering, why Chucky? Why am I doing a Chucky live stream of all things? In certain franchises in the horror genre that I do like, that I do have a fondness for. One is Hellraiser, and one is Child's Play. And in both cases, it's really just based on the first two movies, mostly. And since there aren't a lot of things in the horror genre that I like, when I find one that I do like, I get attached to it, and I want to root for those franchises to be good again, and to be entertaining and scary again. That has not happened in a long time, because modern horror, frankly, kind of sucks. So anyway, with Child's Play, I think there's just something fundamentally creepy about the idea of an evil doll, which the first movie captured just very, very well. The second movie, too. I still maintain those first two movies in the Child's Play franchise are legitimately scary to this day. In fact, I watched the trailer for the first movie. No, I would not. No, I watched the trailers for the first two movies a couple hours ago before I sat down here. Those trailers are frightening. They're scary. It's like, what? How did we get from there to here? I don't understand what happened. The third one is kind of meh, you know? I still make excuses for the third one, though, since it was at least continuing the story of Andy Barclay. I'll get to comments in a little bit after I say my piece about the show. Anywho. So yeah, I kind of make excuses for the third one, even though it's not great. After that, it all fell off a cliff, though. So they did their rebranding. Chucky was promoted from the villain of the piece to the main character, which, in my opinion, was the worst thing they could have done. Because on paper, that might look like a good idea, since Chucky is the one who puts butts in seats. You know, the killer usually is, right? But once you've made him the main character, you've spelled out to the audience that Chucky has plot armor and he's not going anywhere. And maybe the killer always does have plot armor to an extent, but as long as he's still the villain of this... as long as he's still the villain, and the story is about the good guys fighting him, you can suspend your disbelief about that. But you can't do that with Chucky anymore. So now you're saying that the killer isn't going anywhere, because if he's the protagonist, he's always going to be around, So, which removes all the stakes, because that means there's no way for the good guys to win. Which means nothing they do really matters. So they're not fighting to defeat the villain, permanently anymore. They're just fighting to survive until the next installment. That's the most they can hope for. Because if the villain dies, well, then they can't make any more sequels, and they want to keep making sequels. So, he's just, he's just wearing plot armor now. So there's no progression in the story anymore, because there's only so far they can take it. So there's no progression, only continuation. That's why Child's Play 2 works, in my opinion, because it was a progression of the story from the first movie. In the first one, Chucky's desperate to get back into a human body, and he's trying to possess Andy. In the second one, Chucky finally shoots his shot, tries to possess Andy, but he's too late. He spent too much time in the doll's body, now he's stuck in there, and the rage Chucky flies into at that moment, realizing he's trapped in this doll's body, is really interesting, because you're wondering, now what the hell is he going to do? And that's the angriest we've ever seen Chucky in the entire franchise. Arguably the most frightening he's ever been in the entire franchise. Problem is, I don't think the producers really knew the answer to that question of what does Chucky do now, because in the third one, instead of taking that next step so we could find out what he does, they went backwards. Chucky's got a new body, so he's just trying to possess somebody again and get out of the doll's body. And Andy was still there, so it was coasting off that investment, but they didn't know how to keep that narrative going. So, a few years go by, they rebrand the franchise, they made the tone a lot wackier, it stopped being scary, pretty much completely, so we had Bride of Chucky, which was really, really dumb, then Seed of Chucky, which I didn't even watch. That narrative petered out pretty quick, so they rebranded again with these new movies. Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. I haven't watched Curse. I've seen clips of it. Again, I've seen clips of Cult of Chucky, and I saw the last hour of it just before the show started. So I've seen parts of both of them. They're really gimmicky and really goofy. But having Andy back in the picture does help a little bit, because you still have that original investment. Because as long as you've got the Chucky-Andy dynamic, there's still something to get attached to. There's still something to root for. Because we still have that attachment to Andy from the first two movies. And I appreciate that they're at least trying to find some kind of new narrative to base everything on. I just don't like what they came up with. Because now, following what they started with Curse and Cult, now Chucky's decided that he doesn't want to be human anymore, that he's cool with being stuck in the doll's body, which I think is a terrible idea, because it removes the stakes for the bad guy. Because one of the things that made Chucky interesting originally was how driven he was. There was a ticking clock, and he was desperate to get out of the good guy doll body before he was trapped in there. And I understand that they couldn't just do that forever, but once he's not trying to get out anymore and not even bothered about it, you've taken away his whole motivation. Now he's not killing people out of necessity or desperation or malice anymore, he's just killing for the fun of it, which is a lot less interesting. So now everything has become a lot less personal for Chucky, and I don't know... I don't even know what he's doing anymore. Settling old scores or something? But how many of those could he have? He hasn't been human since the 1980s. When we meet him in this show, he's just sitting there at a yard sale. Like, where did the doll come from? How long has the doll been there? Why is he just sitting at a yard sale? I don't know. He could have just gotten up and walked away. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, Chucky's biggest issue was always with Andy. So it's good that they got Andy back. Again, played by Alex Vincent, which is awesome. And there is a story of Andy hunting Chucky down and trying to end him for good, but we know that's not going to happen because they want to keep making sequels. So you can bring Andy back, but there's only so much you can do with it. So what do you do? I mean, they put themselves in a weird place with this franchise. And another problem on top of that is this stupid new development where Chucky can now transfer his soul into multiple bodies at once, which thankfully they don't employ in this episode at least. But anyway, I don't like this development at all, because it's taken away what made Chucky a good character. He was interesting because he was dangerous despite being trapped in this tiny body, which you'd think would make him helpless, but he was still dangerous because he was smart and crafty. He doesn't need to be smart or crafty anymore because now he can just create a whole army of Chuckies, and if they get killed, so what? He'll just make some more. Everything is too easy for him now. And every time you think the good guys have finally won, the writers can just pull another Chucky out of their ass, so the whole thing just keeps going. They thought they were making Chucky a lot more powerful, but all they did was make him a lot less compelling. So I don't know how you fix this. Now, outside of just ignoring that whole ability that showed up in Cult of Chucky. Now, I think there's a story to tell with Andy at least. And we do have the tease that he'll be entering the story maybe as soon as next week. And the sooner the better, because they need Andy in there. Now, and after they brought him back, they did show that that there's story there with Andy that's worth telling. Okay? Because they showed that as an adult, Andy has kind of been alienated from other people because of all the history he has with Chucky. Because a lot of that was like big news. They made a lot of headlines there. You know, they showed him, this is in Cult of Chucky, by the way. They showed him like having a date with some girl, and she gets freaked out because she Googled him, and there's all this stuff about people around him dying, and so she leaves. And I thought there was something to explore there, because in a weird way, Chucky is the only person Andy can relate to now. Which has got to be difficult if Andy wants to, interact with people and have a girlfriend and stuff like that. And so in Cult of Chucky, we also have Fiona Dourif's character, Nika, who previously in Curse of Chucky, who's like we found out her mother was involved with Charles Lee Ray, and he was the reason why Nika's in a wheelchair, and all that other stuff. And then later she gets possessed by Chucky. So now one version of Chucky is walking around in Nika's body. So that gives Andy some new motivation. Saving Nika, getting Chucky out of Nika's body, and if you think about it, if there's one woman Andy can relate to, who can relate to what Andy's been through, it would be Nika. So if Nika is Andy's potential future love interest, conveniently played by Brad Dourif's daughter, that's perfect. I can't imagine anything more perfect. Unfortunately, Nika does not appear this week. I'm hoping she will soon, because Fiona Dourif is awesome. She was like the one good thing about Cult of Chucky. Like, that turns out that movie is very, very dumb, but Fiona Dourif is great in it. So, there's one positive. So I do think there's a story there worth telling with Andy. I just don't know what they're doing with Chucky. It already feels like they're grasping at straws. So that brings us up to today with this new show following the new narrative of Curse and Cult. The advertising campaign was not promising. The promos were all over the place, and every promo was just, Chucky laughing over and over. They can't get enough of that laugh for some reason. And I get it, Brad Dourif's got a creepy laugh. But when you hear it all the time, you get really desensitized to it. The first time you heard the laugh in the original Child's Play, he sounded downright sinister. Now it's like, whatever. He just does it in every scene. Thankfully, not in this episode. So right out of the gate, it seems like they just don't know how to make this scary. And they're following a lot of modern horror trends. in the episode. That's obvious very, very quickly. And that's a problem because modern horror is not scary. I'm sorry, it's just not. But I still wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt because some of the comments the producers made about wanting to get back to the franchise's roots, get back to basics and stuff, and go back to what made the early films work. And that was the right thing to say, at least, so I figured, all right, well, let's give this a shot. All right, clean slate, let's just see if they can do something cool here. I knew it probably wouldn't be good, but I wanted to at least give it a shot because I'd love to be entertained and scared by Child's Play again. Then I watched the show. Not impressed. Not impressed. Wow. Anyway, it begins... Wow. You ever see the original Halloween movie? Yeah, it starts like that. We see a POV shot of a little kid, or we think maybe it's a little kid, or maybe it's Chucky. He's walking through a house, walks up on a woman, sneaks up on her from behind. And this is a flashback. It's right. They took it right out of Halloween. It's very, very obvious. I mean, there's homage and then there's just ripoff. This was a ripoff. That's what they were doing. So then we fast forward to, exterior shots of the town. The town is called Hackensack, if you can believe that. Hackensack. Yes, this is what they're calling the town. And immediately, like 2 seconds later, I figured they're just calling it that so they can use the hack and slash pun, aren't they? That's what they're doing. Sure enough, yeah. Because we start by listening to some kid's podcast called Hack and Slash. Wow, how creative. Oh, God. I mean, granted, that is something that like a 14-year-old kid might call his podcast, but holy shit, people. This was written by adults. Show some creativity here. Alright, so somebody... So the kid is, No, wait, yeah. Sorry, I got mixed up. Alright, so we go to a yard sale. Where our main character, Jake, which... I wanted to root for this kid because I used to have a dog named Jake. So, he starts off in my good graces. That does not last long. So Jake is at a yard sale screwing around. He finds a good guy doll just sitting there. Because that's something somebody would have. After all those news stories that were apparently big-time news. About the kid who claimed that his good guy doll was possessed by a killer. Yeah, this is something that someone would try to get rid of at a yard sale. Right. So this kid is into retro, so he buys the doll. Just wait till you hear what for. And as he's walking away, the woman who sold him the good guy doll notices that someone took the butcher knife. Gee, I wonder why. Anyway, he's listening... So Jake is listening to the podcast we heard a second ago, hosted by a kid named Devin Evans. Yes, that is a real name. Devin Evans, of the Hack and Slash podcast. So Devin Evans is talking about how their town of Hackensack has become some kind of haven for the criminally insane, and the murder rate has been spiking in the last year, and it hasn't been this high since a murder spree back in 1965, which gave birth to Charles Lee Ray. Not subtle at all. At least we know why Chucky's there. Still don't know why he was sitting at a frickin' yard sale. So, Jake brings the good guy doll home, goes into his room, where we see that Jake is constructing some kind of sculpture, some kind of twisted, macabre sculpture made of plastic doll parts. Yeah, that's real normal. And already this kid has lost me. Why can't the kid just be fucking normal? Oh my god, I mean... I know I'm going to be saying this a lot, but god, look at the original film. Andy was not all weird like this. He was just a normal kid. This isn't even something that normal weird kids, like real life weird kids would do. This is something a Hollywood writer would think a weird kid would do, but it's not. It's just freaking weird. It's awkward and it's stupid. So he tries to pull the doll apart because I guess he wants to put the doll's head on his sculpture of doll parts. But the dad comes home and interrupts him. And, yeah, the dad is really weirded out and uncomfortable by this whole thing, and I don't really blame him. But it's not because the kid is weird, it's because the dad is an intolerant asshole. So we learn that out real quick. He says that Jake probably won't get to go to art camp because it's too expensive. So he encourages Jake to, forget about the art stuff. Go out. Talk to people. Maybe ask out a girl, which is pretty mean because the dad already knows that Jake is gay. So encouraging him to ask out a girl, yeah, that's not the most PC thing you could do. Of course, that's intentional on the writer's part. Also, he reminds Jake to take his meds. We don't know what the meds are for, but he's taking them. And the cat doesn't like Chucky. The cat is hissing at Chucky. It can tell something is wrong about this stupid doll. Also, the aunt and uncle are bringing Jake's cousin over for dinner. Apparently, the aunt and uncle are rich, and they live in this really big, super nice house. But they're coming over to dinner at the dad's house, even though the dad is not doing well at work and is strapped for cash and stuff. Yeah, so the dad's a total asshole. At some point in the past, his wife, Jake's mom, was killed in a car accident, and apparently ever since then, the dad's been drinking heavily, and their relationship has gone to shit. But yeah, so the rich aunt and uncle come over, including their son, Junior, who is, again, a total asshole. The aunt and uncle seem like decent folks, but Jake's dad is really insecure, and just not handling this whole dinner well at all, because he's insecure about his twin brother. I think they're actually played by the same actor. I think they're twins. Yeah, so his brother is doing well, and he's making lots of money. He's really successful in his career, while the dad is just not doing well, and he's really bothered about it. Also, he doesn't like that Junior, his nephew, made regionals and made Eagle Scout and whatever. I don't know why kids this age are in Boy Scouts. I mean, these kids must be 17, 18. No, we find out they're about 14. Yeah, right, sure they are. So anyway, it's all very uncomfortable, and Junior teases Jake about being gay, which there's going to be a lot of in this episode. The uncle, upon even hearing this, the uncle just smashes his liquor glass. He really does not like hearing that his son is gay. So it's all uncomfortable in there now. The aunt excuses herself, goes into Jake's room to make a call. She's talking about something secretive, which Chucky eavesdrops on. We don't really know what it's about, but it's something important. And they go for a cheap jump scare where she hears something in a closet, and she opens the closet and the cat jumps out. I don't know why the cat would be in there with Chucky, seeing as how the cat clearly did not like Chucky, but yeah, they had to go for a cheap jump scare. So they leave later on. Jake flips off the car as they leave because he doesn't like Junior. And yeah, Junior shows absolutely no redeemable qualities so far, so I don't blame him. Then he walks back into the house to find the dad smashing his creepy sculpture of doll parts to pieces. So, by now, we can pretty much write the uncle off. This is a really annoying modern horror trope, where this guy clearly only exists to be a complete asshole. This is something modern horror does a lot, and I fucking hate it. Because characters like this are so worthless. It's so obvious and so transparent that he only exists to piss people off, to piss the audience off, so we'll root for Chucky when Chucky kills him. because for some reason, they want us to root for the killer. I hate they did this in the Child's Play reboot too. That crappy reboot. So many modern horror movies do this, and I don't know why. Because it's not horror unless we're horrified when characters die. The original Child's Play movies didn't do this. More on that at the end. But wow, Jake. Also, Jake is lamenting the destruction of his creepy doll part sculpture. And then he finds some bloody cat fur. So yeah, Chucky killed the cat. I wonder if we're supposed to root for him now. Oy. Alright, so, So Jake is looking to buy some good guy dolls online because Chucky escaped the uncle's violent rampage by hiding under the bed or something. So Jake's looking to buy some more good guy dolls to make a new sculpture, and for some reason, good guy dolls are going for $1,500 on eBay. Weird. Then, the next day, for some reason, Jake takes the doll to school with him. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. Because apparently Jake is often getting bullied and teased at school, so he figures, hey, I'll take a children's toy with me. And just bring it into class with me, because that'll make everyone stop making fun of me. It's so weird. Also, this soundtrack for this show sucks, by the way. It's like... This is another trope I can't stand. It's like they're... In almost every other scene, they're trying to punch you in the face with these modern pop or new rock songs they're just terrible. There's no atmosphere. And you know it's going to make this show dated in like 6 months. Is there something wrong with just a normal musical score? Is that really so bad? What would be wrong with that? It makes your show or your movie feel timeless. Instead of inserting these crappy modern songs in there. Oh, God. I hate it. Anywho, so Devin Evans goes to the same school as Jake. And Jake clearly has a thing for Devin Evans, who does not notice him. He's sitting in the seat in front of him, but he doesn't notice him. Yet. Then some kid at school thinks that the good guy doll is cool, but before Jake gets his hopes up about this kid maybe liking him, the kid just wants Jake to introduce him to his cousin Junior. But turns out the cousin Junior, who goes to the same school as they do, is straight and has a girlfriend. All right, the girlfriend thinks Chucky is adorable and takes a picture of him so she can Instagram Chucky or something. But she makes Jake feel insecure when finding out that she's selling the doll because being financially disadvantaged is nothing to be embarrassed about, Jake. But of course, pointing out that he's financially disadvantaged, that's something to be embarrassed about, which she knows, and she's doing it to embarrass Jake because she's another character who's only there to be an asshole. So Jake brings Chucky to biology class with him. Why? I don't know. He's just sitting there at the desk, and the teacher allows this, doesn't tell him to put his doll away. By the way, if anybody watched this episode, can you tell me who the teacher is? Who is the actress playing the biology teacher? I know I've seen this actress somewhere before, and it's bugging the hell out of me. Who is the actress playing the biology teacher? Somebody tell me in the comments if you know. I know I've seen her in something else. All right, so they're dissecting frogs in biology class. And very quickly, it's not going well because Jake can't stand the sight of blood. Yeah. Wonder how long that's going to last. Some kid in the back calls him a pussy. You'd think the teacher would reprimand the kid for that, but no. He tries to dissect the frog, has an anxiety attack, I remember dissecting frogs in biology class in high school. It smelled awful. But, there wasn't really any blood because, they're dead. So there's no heart pumping the blood anymore. Anyway, he looks away for a second to have anxiety and be nauseous and stuff. Then he looks back at the frog, and Chucky has carved up the frog for him. And somehow, nobody in the class saw this. I mean, he's sitting in the front row, got the big desk all to himself, and somehow nobody noticed the doll carving up the frog. Not even the teacher. You'd think such a thing would be really hard to miss. It's pretty dumb. So, then everyone in the class starts laughing because Junior's girlfriend, Lexi, started a GoFundMe page for Jake as a prank on him, and then I guess emailed it to everybody. So the whole class laughs because everyone in this class is an asshole. Then, on the way out, some asshole trips Jake. He's like, "Don't forget your boy toy." Get it? 'Cause he's gay. Ugh, wow. So, basically, the teacher is the only decent human being in this entire scene. She calls Lexi aside, keeps her after class, tells her to take down the GoFundMe, just act like a normal, decent human being who actually cares about being nice to people, who doesn't exist only to be a bully and an asshole and a total prick. He says, "Hey, I was a lot like you, Lexi. I was feeling insecure that I was going to peak in high school and blah blah blah. But Lexi's like, I'm pretty sure. Don't worry. I'm pretty sure I won't end up teaching 8th grade bio. I think I'm good." So she mouths off to the teacher, gets detention. But Lexi just flat out says that she's going to get out of this because she's rich and entitled and snotty. And I hate this character. Not because I'm supposed to, I just hate her because it's terrible writing. Also, most of these child actors suck. I'm sorry, this is really bad stuff. It's very awkward and stilted, and the dialogue is unnatural, and I just hate it. Also, I really want to know which actress is playing this teacher. This is bugging the hell out of me. I know I've seen her somewhere before. So at lunch, Jake is sitting alone, listening to the Hack and Slash podcast when Devin Evans sits down with him. To his credit, Devin seems like a nice kid. He's almost certainly gay. So there you go. So he can see that Jake is listening to his podcast, and apparently he's noticed this before, so he asks Jake if he'd like to come on the show for a series he's doing about bullying. Jake is excited about this. Looks like the dude he likes is taking an interest in him. And it all seems to be going well. He's getting his hopes up a little bit until the topic of Junior comes up. And Jake gets really defensive because Junior is his cousin and also not a good person. So Jake storms off, which Junior notices. Back in the bio classroom, Lexi hears Chucky laugh, then notices Chucky blocking the door. And Chucky's not moving or doing anything really, but Lexi is kind of freaked out. But before Chucky can do anything, the teacher comes back in and she quickly leaves. Then the teacher locks Chucky in the closet. Later that night, Jake gets a call from someone asking about the doll. Apparently he put an ad up online trying to unload the doll. So the person on the other end is very interested in this good guy doll. Is it named Chucky? Has anything weird happened lately? Have you checked his batteries? It's Andy Barkley on the other end. He doesn't appear, but we hear him on the other end. So it's good that Andy is clearly on the way because things can only improve once he's there. Hopefully he's bringing Kyle with him, and that will lead to the introduction of Nika, and all that. Not Jennifer Tilly, please. She can just stay away. So they get disconnected. Jake Googles some stuff about the doll and finds a lot of news articles about Chucky and Andy and all the murders they were connected to, and he starts getting a little freaked out. So, the next morning, Jake tries to talk to the dad, but the dad found the good guy doll in the bathroom. Thought we got rid of that. Yeah, that's weird. I'll get rid of it for you. If you're wondering how Chucky got out of the closet, which was locked from the outside, well, they don't bother answering that question. Why he would just return to the house is another thing I'm wondering about. So Jake checks the batteries. There are none in there. And so, well, he's been, spouting the recorded message. Hi, I'm Chucky. I'm your friend to the end. He's done that more than once. How can he do that if there's no batteries? So the wheels start turning in Jake's head. He immediately runs outside, throws Chucky in the trash can. If I'm Jake, I'm just, going into the garage, getting a saw or something, and just cutting that little bastard apart. But no, he just throws him in the trash can. The easily escapable trash can. Sure, that makes sense. Then, that night, there's a talent show at the school. Devin Evans is on the stage playing piano. Because he's gay. And that's something that gay kids do. Jake is in the audience. Now, the performance goes well, everybody applauds. Then Lexi comes out. I'm not sure because she doesn't seem to be a part of the show. She's just there to make fun of people and be an asshole again. She comes out and she eggs Devin on. Wow, that was beautiful, Evan. Was it for anyone special? Hey, is that Jake sitting right across from you? Wow, hey Jake, what did you think of Devin? Isn't there something you'd like to say to Devin? Well, now's your chance to tell Devin and Devin's mom what you really think. Oh, hey, little sister sitting in the audience. Wow, hey, you suck. Yeah, she takes a jab at her little sister because she's a bitch. And we're supposed to root for Chucky when he kills her. It's all very dumb. So she's getting ready to do more mean shit to Jake just for shits and giggles when suddenly Chucky speaks up. Yeah, Chucky is just sitting in a chair right behind Jake. So he somehow walked all the way from the house to the school and got into the audience, and somehow nobody noticed this. Sure, why not? So Chucky's like, hey Lexi, why don't you pick on someone your own size? The ironic thing is that that's exactly what she was doing. She was picking on Jake, who's the same size as her. You figure it out. So anyway, Jake picks up Chucky. Chucky whispers something in his ear, so Jake takes the stage, and Chucky improvises some ventriloquist act. And when Lexi wasn't looking, Chucky somehow got a hold of her smartphone, and he embarrasses her about photos of her boyfriend and also some other boy, and then reading her search history. It has Pokemon porn and why do my farts smell so good? Ha ha ha. And the crowd laughs, and Lexi's little sister does appreciate this because her mean asshole of a sister is getting embarrassed. And Lexi is mortified. Not in an angry, bitchy way, more like a, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed, this is horrible kind of a way. I guess it's meant to be a sympathetic reaction, but it's too soon to tell. How the hell Chucky unlocked her phone is weird, because don't you have to have like a thumbprint or something, or a password to get into those things? Because mine does. It's all passcoded and stuff. How did Chucky unlock the phone? Anyway, the act is a big hit, and then Chucky's like, yeah, it's fun, isn't it, laughing at people? Ha ha ha. Well, guess what, dickheads? Now the joke's on you. So somebody pulls him off the stage. So by the time Jake gets home, the dad has already received a call from the teacher saying that Jake was suspended. Why? Why? Okay, so he made a couple... He did a ventriloquist act at a talent show making fun of Lexi. Okay. So, you're going to suspend Jake for that. But you're not going to suspend the kid who called him a pussy in class in front of everyone and the teacher? So that kid's not in trouble? All these kids are like publicly mocking and teasing Jake like in every scene. So Jake gets in trouble, but they don't? it's so contrived. So he's suspended from school, and the dad is pissed off. Like, you insulted your friends and your family in front of the entire school, and, you know, why are you doing all this? You didn't used to be all weird like this. Everybody thinks you're weird. This is not good. And so Jake finally loses his shit. He says, look, you're just pissed off because people think I'm a fag. His words, not mine. So once the F word comes off, the dad just completely loses his own shit. He gets really physical with Jake, slams him up against a wall. It's very over the top. He says, you say that again and I'll kill you! You know, because no son of mine is going to be gay. How dare you be gay? Oh my god, it's 2021. This was written in 2021. So Jake was like, it should have been you who died in that car instead of Mom. Wow, oh god. So the dad sends him to his room and notices that his whiskey is gone, because again, he was drinking. Very quickly, the power goes out. The dad goes into the basement to check the circuit breaker. Chucky is there, some wires are cut, and Chucky spits out the whiskey, and the dad gets electrocuted by the exposed wiring. And you gotta see this scene to believe it, because holy crap. Subtlety truly is dead. Jake goes down to the basement to find him. The electrocution is so overdone it's downright cartoonish. The dad is standing there jerking around like a frickin' zombie with like Tesla coils sprouting from his eyeballs and shit. It's so dumb. How can we possibly take this seriously? I don't know. It's so cartoonish. It's so stupid. So Chucky sneaks up on Jake while he's watching his uncle get fried like bacon. Later on, the cops show up. They're checking everything out. Devin Evans' mom is the lead cop on the scene or whatever. She also, while she has Jake, she mentions there was a break-in at the school, and the good guy doll was the only thing that was missing. Jake lies and says it was him. He said he needed the doll to practice for the talent show. Sure. Hey Jake, how did you have the key to open the closet? Because the closet was locked with a key. So Chucky obviously broke out, but how did he break out when the door to the closet was locked from the outside? Nobody knows. They don't bother explaining it. Also, Jake is having a nosebleed. I don't know if that's relevant. So the uncle comes to take him to his house to stay. And the incident is labeled a death by misadventure, ... for now. Anywho, the uncle is filthy rich, I guess. He has a really huge house with a beautiful wife. To their credit, the aunt and uncle seem like good people. Minus that secret the aunt is keeping. So I don't know how they raised a kid like Junior, who appears to be just a little snot. So they're happy to have him. They give him a room. They're going to try to help him out, but Junior does not like that Jake will be staying with them at all, because Junior is an asshole, who I guess we're supposed to root for Chucky to kill the little shit. So while she has him alone, the aunt asks about what Jake meant during his ventriloquist act, because Chucky mentioned that the aunt had a secret during the ventriloquist act. Didn't say what it was, but he did mention that she had a secret. He said, what were you talking about there, Jake? That was kind of weird. And he says, so again, Jake lies. Oh, it was nothing. I was just making stuff up. That doesn't mean anything. So they immediately leave Jake alone. This 14-year-old kid who just watched his father get electrocuted to death. They leave him alone. Which they think is a good idea. Yeah, this kid who just watched his parent die, his only parent die. Yeah, we're gonna leave him alone, because he won't want company at a time like this, right? Yeah, people love being alone after their father dies. Ugh. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Anyway, he knows something's up with Chucky now. So he picks up Chucky. He's like, talk to me. I said, talk to me, damn it. All right, I'm going to make you talk. So they just took the line directly from the scene in Child's Play when the mom is finally putting two and two together and she thinks Chucky is actually alive. It's the same exact line taken right from the original. And I appreciate the effort of, drawing, connective tissue there. But it's all just a little too, not obvious, but it's like you're not even trying here. You're not even trying. So Chucky starts talking, and for some reason, the first thing out of Jake's mouth is not, how the fuck are you talking? How the fuck are you alive? If I'm Jake, I've got a lot more questions. They just start having a conversation. Jake ought to be a lot more shocked than he is right now. I'm just saying. It's just... Don't get me started. Anyway. Yeah, Chucky killed the dad, he killed the cat, and now he pulls out the butcher knife, and he's like, let's talk about that bitch Lexi. And then we cut back to the opening scene, where the kid whose POV shot we were seeing as he snuck up on the woman, that's actually Charles Lee Ray as a kid, as a little kid. So they ripped off a scene from Halloween just to show Charles Lee Ray as a kid. And if they're going to be going into Charles Lee Ray's backstory and how he became a killer, all right. I just have very little faith that they're going to make this interesting. I really hope they're not going to try to make us sympathize with this guy, because after everything he's done, no. That ship has sailed. But I think they're going to try to do it, because in his own twisted way, Chucky was trying to stick up for Jake here. Helping him out with the bullies, helping him out with the dad. Which really doesn't feel like Chucky. Chucky would be the one bullying this kid. But, that leads us into the promos for the upcoming season, where a big storyline apparently is going to be Chucky trying to tempt Jake into becoming a killer himself. Which we already know will not possibly happen because Jake is gay, and they can't make a gay kid a killer. It's just not allowed. That's the rules now. No, if he's gay, then he's got plot armor, and he's going to be a good and virtuous person, because anything left would, would get them kicked off social media or something. So they've already telegraphed the whole A-plot, which is basically just pointing out in advance that the entire thing is going to be a waste of time. So basically, if we're trying to salvage this show in any way, it's pretty much up to Andy. So hopefully Andy will show up in episode 2. I don't even know if I'll still be watching at that point. So they're definitely trying to do the back-to-basics approach like Child's Play did, where they don't have Chucky doing stuff right away. They kind of play with the tension, try to build up the suspense a little bit, just showing him looking suspicious or looking innocent and unassuming and not really doing anything, but do it in such a way where he looks kind of ominous. Just like what the original movie did. They're trying, but problem is they're really bad at it because there are just so many crappy horror tropes and so much bad writing. None of the characters feel like real people at all. So much, a lot of them just exist to be assholes. The dad, Lexi, all the, 99% of the classmates, so much so that it feels downright mean-spirited. And this is such a lazy way to write your characters, because you just know they're doing this because they're setting all these people up to get killed. And why would you want to do that, if not to root for the killer? But we're not supposed to root for the killer. When he kills people, we're supposed to feel bad. We're supposed to feel scared. At some point, modern horror just got away from this. And And now so many franchises want us to root for the killer. Why? I don't understand it. We're supposed to root for the good guys to stop the killer. So the whole thing is dumb. It feels very mean-spirited. The acting in general is pretty bad, especially with the younger characters. These kids are... I mean, Jake... The Jake character might be acted competently, but it's hard to tell because the writing is so bad. The dialogue is so shitty. So maybe if you gave him some decent material, he might be okay, but it's hard to tell, honestly. So many of the characters are transparently only there to be total dickheads, so we root for them when Chucky starts carving them up. When Chucky killed people in the original 2 movies, we weren't given any reason to hate these people for the most part. Usually these people were not shown to be bad people. They were actually shown to be good people, so their deaths actually had some weight. You felt bad when they died. You felt a sense of dread when they died. When Andy's your babysitter at the start of the first movie died, you felt bad because she seemed like a nice lady. I think she was his aunt, right? She gets thrown out the window. And you feel like, oh no, that the little kid's babysitter died. You were invested. There was an emotional investment there. You don't feel bad when Jake's dad died. He was a total prick. He was a drunken, bully, homophobic jackass. That's all he was. There was nothing more to his character than that. We find out. He used to be a good guy, but mom died and he started drinking. Okay, well, could you actually show him having some kind of dimension other than just being a total prick? Just to show that he's not just transparently there to get killed off? It's so lazy. So, yeah, that was the first episode of Chucky. Wow, I did not like this. I mean, I didn't have high hopes for this in the first place, but yeah, this was not good. It was tropey and badly written and badly acted, and I just did not like it. I did not like it one bit. All right, we got a super chat in the chat room. Let's see, Frankie and NYC, thank you very much for the $5. Hi, I'm Frankie, your friend to the end. Here's a few Chuck bucks to put towards your own Chucky doll. Love your work. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't think I need a Chucky doll of my very own. No, that's I might put that towards food, possibly. Maybe paying my cable bill, something like that. But thank you very much anyway. Okay. All right, sound off in the chat room. What did you guys think about this? Dave Collard, what's the news about Hellraiser? Well, this is, I just learned about this a little while ago. Apparently they're doing a Hellraiser reboot, which honestly might not be the worst idea in the world, seeing as how they've been doing the straight-to-video sequels for years now, and as far as I know, they're all kind of bad. And we're already on like the third actor for Pinhead. Okay, they Doug Bradley left the role, so they've recast it like twice already. And now they're recasting it again, and it's going to be now Pinhead is going to be played by Jamie Clayton, who I know from Sense8. I liked her in Sense8. And I guess there's some kind of big brouhaha because she's a trans woman, and now she's playing the role that has traditionally been played by a man. I'm just annoyed that it's anyone who's not Doug Bradley, to be honest with you. I mean, it's... Whenever you recast an iconic character like that, it's gonna be uncomfortable. The way I feel about it is... I think like nobody is going to equal what Doug Bradley did with Pinhead. Nobody. It's never going to be as good, no matter who you get. So, going in a different direction with the character might not be the worst idea in the world. What annoys me is not the recasting with a woman. It's the idea that gender-swapping characters in general has become Hollywood's default rather than a legitimate storytelling device. Now, so I don't know what's going on with this Hellraiser reboot, if it's going to be... apparently, it's going to be like a series, I don't know, for HBO Max or Hulu or something. I don't know. I do not have high hopes. But apparently Clive Barker is involved in some way. If they've got Clive Barker involved, I will at least give it a shot. But wow, it better be a lot better than what I saw here tonight with Child's Play. Because while I have a fondness for the Child's Play franchise, I fucking love Hellraiser. Again, mostly based on the first two movies. Third one is not on the same planet as the first two, but it still has some good things about it. Bloodline is what it is, but at least there's a narrative there that has a beginning and an end to it. But yeah, those first two, absolute classics in my opinion. So if you're rebooting Hellraiser, you damn well better know what the fuck you're doing. And I'm going to be very particular about who gets cast in that thing. Okay. Let's see what you're saying here. It's too bad they couldn't have gotten Pinhead to be at the end of Jason vs. Freddy. Too bad? More like good. I am relieved to this day that Pinhead didn't have to be tainted by being a part of that shit show. No, Freddy vs. Jason was not good. No, I'm sorry. If you liked it, fine, but no, that movie was a joke. And Pinhead is not a character you can plug into something like that, because Hellraiser is not just your typical slasher, which you can plug a lot of comedy and dark humor into. No, Hellraiser is utterly humorless. Hellraiser is straight up horror. So if you plug him into a movie like Freddy vs. Jason, which was just a lot of wacky stuff and basically a dark comedy, no, that does not work at all. 1 second. All right, Eric Soul, thank you for the super chat. Sad to see Child's Play has become this. It was one of the first movies to really scare me as a kid. Also, much love. And to you yourself, Eric. Thank you very much. Yeah, I remember as a little kid seeing the promos for Child's Play 2, where Chucky steps on the Jack-in-the-Box. It's like, sorry, Jack, Chucky's back. To this day, that still creeps me out. I remember just watching that as a little kid and just being scared out of my mind. Oh my god, the talking doll, it's so creepy. Man, you don't get that anymore. It's like modern horror sucks so much. I mean, the trailers for the first two movies that I watched on YouTube a couple hours ago, just the trailers for those movies were more frightening than anything in this episode. All right. All right. Alright, you're not missing anything, skipping Seed, haha, outside of Tiffany putting herself back in Jennifer Tilly's body. That movie was a parody and meta with Jen and Tiffany since Jen plays and voices her. Oh, man. Don't get me started on Jennifer Tilly. I don't know what she's doing in this role. Oh, man, she is one of the big reasons why this newer incarnation of the franchise is so bad. It's like she is hamming it up so much. It's like she thinks the whole thing is a cartoon, which, in fairness, when she entered the franchise, it basically was a cartoon. All right. Yeah, he was born in Hackensack. He's back there for a reason. Hopefully. Hopefully it's a good reason. Hackensack. I still can't believe they named the damn town Hackensack. Which I have to believe is an allusion to Camp Hackenslash, which I think was... They did a pre-screening for Freddy vs. Jason back in the day at at some kind of event called Camp Hackenslash or something. I assume that's what it was alluding to. But wow, I mean... How can you even take it seriously when you're being so obvious about it like this? Remember when Chucky wasn't the main star in the first 3 movies? Yeah, he was the villain, and it was a lot better that way. Am I mistaken, or didn't Andy die in one of the newer ones? No, he's still alive. If you want to plot with an assassin, you need a hero fighting to stop him. Just like a hero movie with a villain and nemesis. If you don't develop Andy, Chucky also will not change. The sides must move. Agreed. So thankfully Andy is still around. And I maintain that the things got more interesting when Andy re-entered the picture. Because that's where the original investment came from. You cared about what happened to Andy. And he was Chucky's main nemesis for the first 3 movies. And it's no coincidence that things really went downhill after Andy, exited and the focus went completely onto Chucky. Because sometimes in movies like this, the villain, or the killer, rather, and the final girl or final guy, whoever it is, become sort of intertwined, so one doesn't make sense without the other. And I maintain that that's what happened with Chucky and Andy, so if you have Chucky, you gotta bring Andy along, otherwise it just doesn't work. Because Andy is Chucky's nemesis. You're never gonna find another nemesis for Chucky who we care about more than Andy Barkley. So if you don't have Andy, this story don't work. So, I mean, they made the right decision by getting Andy in there, sooner than later, but I don't know if it's gonna be soon enough to save this thing. Yeah, it takes away from John the voodoo guy who taught him everything. He finds the split voodoo online. I hate that. Oh yeah, so they turn the whole thing into a joke. Yeah, I watched that clip online earlier. Where he finds John, the voodoo dude, and it kills him. In the original movie. That's how he learned how to transfer his soul into other bodies. He learned voodoo magic. Now he just finds a spell online on a voodoo website to transfer his soul into multiple bodies at once? On a frickin' website? Are you kidding me? How can you take it seriously? It's a joke. It's like they want it to be a comedy now. Like there was none of this wacky comedic shit in the original movies. It was meant to be taken seriously, or as seriously as you can take something like this. And those movies were actually scary. It's like they're not trying to be scary anymore. Or maybe they are and they just don't know what scary is. Oh my god. The first one was scary as hell. Absolutely. That movie creeps me out to this day. Like I could pull it up and watch it right now. I would still be creeped out by it. All right. This is literally the first I've heard about the show. Didn't even know it was coming out. Wow, really? Because those promos have been all over the place for weeks. Like weeks and weeks. I've seen them like multiple times a day. I don't know how you could have missed them. All right. They should work with Chucky's strengths instead of trying to make him edgy again. Yeah, well, it's like they forgot what made the character work. They're trying to add all this new stuff to him, which is really dumb, but they forgot what made him interesting in the first place. It's like Chucky was a great villain because I mean, you'd think he'd be at a disadvantage because of being trapped in the little doll's body, and he basically was, but he was still dangerous because he was so smart. And because he could be so dangerous despite being at a physical disadvantage to just about everyone except the 6-year-old kid. That's what made him so threatening, and that's what made him so compelling. But then they give him all these new crazy magic powers. Now he can create an army of Chuckies and whatnot. It's like, guys, it's so lazy. It's just an excuse to not write a compelling story. But this is modern horror for you. How old is the main kid? I do not buy that not only would a teen buy a good guy doll, but would take him with him to high school to show off. Supposedly he's 14. He says he's 14 in the show. Of course, he's played by a kid who looks like 18 or 19. And he buys the doll so he can pull it apart and use the body parts for his doll part sculpture. I don't know why he brings the doll to school with him. Yeah, they don't really explain that. Plot sucks already. Thanks for watching it for me. I've got your back. I'm watching Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2. I may not make it. I didn't even know Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 had begun. Wow, yeah, I said everything I needed to say about Lower Decks with Season 1. I had heard nothing about Season 2 at all. Chucky and Tiffany dug up Chucky's grave in Hackensack, New Jersey to get a frickin' amulet. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, I skipped a couple of those movies. Alright, let's see. Hollywood struggles to make real relatable characters. Ain't that the truth? Like, so many people are just stuck in their own bubble. They have no idea how real characters and real people behave. So you're watching stuff like this, and it's like, human beings don't act like this. How many real human beings have you interacted with? Alright. Wait, Jake's gay? Yeah. Yeah, they are not subtle about that. And, basically everybody gives him shit for it. Which... I mean, granted, I haven't been in high school in a while, but, I would think people are a little more accepting of that sort of thing these days. I mean, maybe back in the 80s or 90s, he'd get teased, more, but good God. Like, everybody's giving him so much shit. Is the gay thing forced? It's forced in the sense that he gets bullied constantly for it. Not forced by Jake himself. I mean, he seems okay, minus the doll sculpture thing. But, they don't make him, like, flamboyant or effeminate or anything. But he does take so much shit for being gay, which it feels like so much overkill. All right. Sadly, by modern horror standards, what would the teacher do? I don't know, she'd probably act like an asshole. I guess that's the one, Annie Briggs, that's the actress who plays the teacher. Okay, fine. I know I've seen her in something before. I'll look at it later. Yeah, I guess that's one thing we can say in the show's favor, is that the teacher seems like a nice, normal person. Even though she didn't tell the kids to knock it off while they were teasing Jake in the class. At least she took Lexi aside afterward, told her to knock it off. Wonder how long she'll last. Was the teacher Annie Briggs? Apparently so. Alright, I'm just gonna look up her IMDb. I know I've seen her in something before, and it's really bothering me. The Carmilla movie? Carmilla? Lola? Oh! Yeah, Carmilla. It was a web series. Yeah, the Carmilla web series. She was Perry. I watched that. I liked her in that. Huh. Yeah, that's where I've seen her before. Okay, cool. That was really bothering me. Thank you. I knew I'd seen her in something. So Chucky has to get out of the closet. I won't apologize for this, nor should you. I imagine that was done on purpose. What is it with modern writing trying to convince us that villains are the good guys? The writers are trying to erase the shame they bring to society. Oh yeah, the villains are the good guys, and the good guys are the assholes. What is going on? All the characters who we're supposed to like and root for, they're all horrible people. So we don't feel bad when they start dying, when the villain starts killing them. And I am like 99% sure that that the flashbacks we're going to be seeing with Charles Lee Ray as a little kid are going to try to make us sympathize with him. Like, he was like a bullying victim and was forced to become a violent killer because he was always being teased by all the mean people in his town, and he really wasn't so bad. He was forced into it. It wasn't his fault. Like, oh, fuck off. Fuck off in advance, if that's where we're going with this. A lot of people don't use the thumbprint password. Really? I would think you use that on general principles. I mean, why would you want to make it easier for someone else to break into your phone? You still need a human finger to swipe it. That's true. Is it just a gay revenge fantasy then? Possibly. Might be a little too soon to tell. But yeah, I'm positive that most, if not all, the kids who are mocking Jake for being gay, most of those kids are gonna die. That's almost a certainty. I mean, if Jake or the Devin Evans kid, if either of them die, then maybe it's not a revenge fantasy, because the Devin Evans kid is probably also LGBT. I mean, but he's also black, which means he has the most plot armor out of anyone in the show right now. If they were go so far as to kill him, then it's not a gay revenge fantasy, but right now we don't know. I hope they don't retcon Chucky as an LGBT person to relate to the protagonist. Well, I guess that depends if Tiffany is still a thing. I mean, they'd have to retcon the whole Tiffany thing, because, you know, he did have a girlfriend at some point. And she's still around when last we saw her, so I guess they could retcon him into a bisexual person? But, wow, we'd really be off the beaten path at that point. If they wanted Jake to be a killer, why make him gay? Yeah, it doesn't really work, does it? Because modern, PC show business politics would not allow for that. So they're gonna tease that Chucky's trying to make him a killer, but any person who's been paying attention to pop culture recently knows that's not gonna happen. So either they're going to abandon that plot really quickly, it won't last like longer than one episode or something, or the producers are just really out of touch. And honestly, I'm probably leaning towards the latter. Alright. And a whole bunch of new comments just got posted. Xavier Cardi, thank you for the super chat. Would you consider reviewing Doom Patrol? I haven't seen Doom Patrol. I don't know. A lot of the DC projects just don't interest me. I've heard. I honestly haven't really heard anything about Doom Patrol. The project just didn't really catch my attention. I might see it possibly, but I'd have to see the whole show to understand what's going on. And honestly, Batwoman has kind of soured me on everything DC related. So if I don't talk about Doom Patrol, you can blame Batwoman for that. Are all the Chucky movies canon to the story? I honestly don't know. I guess Child's Play 1 through 3 are canon. And I guess Curse and Cult are also canon. Because we've got adult Andy Barkley entering the story at some point. So those are all canon for sure. I don't know about Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. I don't know about those. Honestly, I would be quite happy if those two films were just retconned out of existence. In Bride of Chucky, we see a book labeled Voodoo for Dummies. Oi. Wow, I haven't seen that movie since I saw it in theaters way back in the day. I don't remember that part. Maybe I repressed the memory of it. Boy, that was a really dumb movie, wasn't it? What's Chucky's endgame? I do not know. It's one of the problems with this. Like, we used to know what Chucky wanted. He wanted to get out of the doll's body, get back into a human body. That's what was driving him. That was a clear and good, solid motivation. Now they've taken that away, so we don't know what he wants. Or if he even wants anything. Because since then, I don't know what Chucky wants. Does he have any goals or things he wants to accomplish? I mean, maybe he's trying to settle some old scores or something, but outside of that, what is he there for? He's just there because they want to keep making sequels. How is there LGBT overtones when Chucky is expressly in love with Tiffany and has disdain for his child when it was genderless wanting a son? Probably for the same reason how there could be LGBT undertones in The Falcon Winter Soldier when both of those guys were straight. Because in one of those episodes, you had Sam and Bucky fall off the truck and roll together into a field of flowers, for the same reason why you had the therapist have them sit with their knees in each other's crotch, even though they're both straight. No, it's queer baiting. And there's no storytelling reason for it to be there, but they do it for political reasons. It's stupid, but a lot of people are doing it in show business now. In my Cult of Chucky review, I give my own explanation on saying John made Voodoo for Dummies and putting it online. Well, I mean, John died long before the creation of the internet, but okay. I think we can all agree we need to see you review The Flash. It was so funny watching you shred Batwoman. I mean, back in my original channel, I reviewed the first 3 seasons of The Flash, episode by episode. I was doing a weekly live stream at the time where I talked about all the comic book shows. Did not enjoy it. Spoiler. He takes the doll to school because the plot needs to happen. Yeah, pretty much. Lower Decks Season 2 had an orgy scene? Oh, good lord. Did they have naked Klingon jugs? Like, STD had in Season 1? Did they? Did they have naked Klingon jugs? Oi, modern Star Trek, man. Holy crap. Batwoman is going to battle Poison Ivy until it's revealed that she's bi, so she'll become besties with the hero. I can't tell if that's a joke or if you're being serious. Because honestly, that is absolutely something they would do. I can genuinely see that happening. It seems kind of weird that Chucky is helping out the main character considering his reaction to his own son asking if he could be a girl, actually due to having two souls, male and female, inside him at the same time in Seed of Chucky. Alright, well, I haven't seen Seed of Chucky, never watched it, so I'll take your word for it on that. But, yeah. It's weird. Chucky seems very out of character, doesn't he? Doesn't make sense. Because this is not something Chucky would do. Chucky would be one of the people bullying this kid. He wouldn't be helping him out. Because, Chucky does not seem like the type of person who would stand up for, like, LGBT rights and whatnot. No, that's not who this guy is. Which is why I actually am thinking that they might try to retcon Chucky into a bisexual character, which... Oh my god. If they actually try to make us sympathize with this guy, no thank you. Like, maybe Chucky was secretly bisexual the whole time, but he couldn't accept himself, and that's what made him so angry, and that's what made him... That's what turned him into a killer, because he was relentlessly mocked for being bisexual, and he repressed all that anger and all that rage, and he lashed out at the world because no one would accept him, and he couldn't accept himself either. Oh god, I could genuinely see that happening. Oh boy, please don't. Please don't. What did you think of the 2019 remake? Well, I did a review of it. You can check that out. Just check the movie reviews playlist. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. Wait, you reviewed The Flash and I didn't know about this until now? Yeah. Of course, no one really watched those streams back in the day. I had a weekly audience of about 6 to 8 people. But yeah, it was something I did for fun back before I figured out how to get people to watch my stuff. Let's see. I have a position toward how horror movies work in the past X nowadays. I would like to know your opinion on it. It'll be about 7 messages total. I hope I didn't categorize as spam. 1. I don't think it's fair to mention the problems of nowadays with horror movies about all the SJW aspects and trying to say that the old movies didn't have similar things. For example, in the past, we always had a male killer going after some weak minority element. Not always. I mean, in the past, Chucky was going after a little kid. You know, it wasn't necessarily a minority. I mean, Chucky seemed like an equal opportunity killer, as someone else in the chat pointed out here. 3, normally a woman, a child, etc. ends up killing and defeating the male predator. I mean, today we can say that the media loves to put the white man as a problem and the rest are victims. But the classic movies were also not perfect. What I'm trying to say is the media, even before, never focused on creating a female killer going after a guy, and the guy having to kill a female element in the end, and the guy be seen as the hero victim. Well, I think it would be a much harder sell to have a woman as the killer. And I'm not saying this to be a sexist. I'm just saying, look, men and women are different, and it's easier to make a man, like a male killer, frightening. It's just easier. With a woman, you have to work a lot harder because one, they're less physically imposing than men, typically. I'm not saying that's just human biology. Men are typically bigger and stronger than women. Again, not trying to be a sexist. That's just reality. I'm not saying you couldn't have a female killer. I actually think that'd be something pretty interesting, but it would be a harder sell than a male one. It's just the reality of it. Let's see. So, for example, every last female survivor, killing Jason or Freddy or Michael Myers, good. A male survivor killing a female assassin, that's a big no. Well, you kind of got halfway there with Child's Play. I mean, you had the male survivor stopping the male killer. That's something. So both periods of time, the past and things from today seem very similar with this aspect. I mean, come on, this last Halloween story is basically a group of women fighting a man. Well, I'll take your word for it. I haven't watched the current Halloween remake. I actually liked the Rob Zombie remake, the first one. The sequel sucked. Sequel was ass. The first one I kind of liked. But since they rebooted it again, I'm like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. It's too many reboots for me. I mean, you had the originals. First two are good. After that, they start getting really bad and weird. So they took some years off. They did H2O, which I liked, and then some other ones which were terrible. And they stopped for a while. They did the Rob Zombie remake. First was good. Sequel sucked. Then they said, you know what? Forget everything except the original. And now we're just going to pick up like 30 years after the original. All the other movies, they didn't happen. And now we're just picking up with Laurie Strode. And the first one is the only one that's actually in canon now. And then we're just going to do more sequels. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. It's just reboot after remake after retcon. It's like, I don't know what's in canon and what isn't anymore. I'm out. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing anymore. So yeah, I did not see the most recent Halloween reboot. Now Halloween Kills is coming up, which is the follow-up to that. I don't know what's going on. I probably won't even see that because I didn't see the last one. I won't know what's going on. Heard pretty mixed things about Halloween Kills anyway. Let's see. Alright. The difference was back then it was done for storytelling narrative reasons, whether you liked it or not, or whether it landed or not, it was done to service the story. Now it's done to service politics. It just doesn't taste the same. It's not woven in the same way. It doesn't land the same way. Yeah. I mean, back then you could conceivably have had a female killer. It still would have been a hard sell, but you might have been able to do it. I really doubt you'd be able to do it now. Because, we can't have a female killer, because women have to be portrayed as, as strong, likable characters, except in the case of Lexi, when they're just there to be killed off. But yeah, I really doubt you could do it today, because politics. Probably the closest we'll get is Tiffany, who kind of sneaked in under the radar because she's like a holdover from the previous era, and also Nika, who is currently possessed by Chucky, so she gets a pass. It's just her body, it's not really her. Let's see, how's Stargirl Season 2 so far? Pretty good. Pretty good. They're taking a very slow burn approach. There's some episodes that don't have action in them at all, so it's very slow. But, character-wise, story-wise, I'm enjoying it. Never focused on creating a female killer going after a guy. Have you ever heard of a film called Kill Bill? That's nonsense. Kill Bill. I love Kill Bill. It's one of my favorite movies. But the thing is, the bride was not portrayed as the bad guy. You know, she was taking revenge on people who deserved to die, who deserved to have her take revenge on them. The whole thing is a revenge story. No, the bride was very much the hero of that story. Let's see, what else we got here? Are you going to see Halloween Kills? You know, I might see it if I've got no movie to review that weekend. I don't know. I probably wouldn't even know what's going on. I didn't see the first one. I don't know. Maybe I could find it online somewhere. But yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Halloween anymore. All right. Why can't they get a woman killer to kill Batwoman? Well, they tried with Alice. Just didn't really work out. Even though they gave her every opportunity, but, you know, Kate and then Ryan just kept letting her go all the time. Giving her chance after chance, she just didn't get the job done. Do you think Batwoman might use Stephanie Brown as spoiler in Season 3? I doubt it. I mean, it does look like they're incorporating some Batwoman characters. At least some villains in there. Apparently the Mad Hatter's going to show up. Poison Ivy. I think Killer Croc is going to be in there. Or at least some incarnation of Killer Croc. Probably just in a last-ditch effort to save the ratings. Too little, way too late. But I don't know. I think if they had spoiler, they would have put her in the trailer. Of course, they didn't put Poison Ivy in the trailer. Man, that trailer was so half-assed. You have no idea. Yeah, I kind of doubt it. I'm impressed with my memory. Okay, cool. My memory is usually shit, so that's nice of you. Is anything else in here? She wasn't a bad guy in Kill Bill. She was an assassin, though. Well, yeah, she was an assassin technically, but she was a sympathetic assassin. Yeah, and she was a killer, but she was a killer you liked. You know, Tarantino bent over backwards to make her sympathetic because she was, she was trying to get out and start a new life with her daughter and her fiance. And then, like, the worst thing that could ever happen to a human being happens to her. And then she uses her assassination skills for good to get back at the people who wronged her. People who all very much deserve to die. Now, she may have been an assassin, but she was a Hollywood assassin in which you can be a good person and an assassin. They're not mutually exclusive. Did you ever review Jennifer's Body? No, that was before I was on YouTube. It might have been before YouTube was a thing, honestly. But yeah, I saw Jennifer's Body. Never talked about it before. I always thought it was kind I kind of liked it when I saw it, honestly. I remember feeling like that movie kind of got a bad rap. Because when that movie came out, a lot of people were shitting all over it. I feel like it was kind of misunderstood. Your thoughts on the new Lost Boys remake? It'll suck. Wow, I have not seen the Lost Boys in years and years and years. Yeah, that's another movie that's really a product of the time it was made in. I think if you try to remake it now, it's just not going to have the same charm. It's not going to work. Don't even do it at all. It's destined to fail. I recommend the new Batman Long Halloween Night Part 1 and 2. Absolutely incredible. Solomon Grundy, Born on a Monday. Also about your memory recount on Batwoman is what I meant. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah. They did the animated movie about Long Halloween. You know, I'm not a DC guy, but Long Halloween is one of the few Batman trades I actually do own. Remember really enjoying that. Yeah, you have to check that out. Hey, thank you. And about the good memory, you know, Batwoman, you know, it's easy to remember details about Batwoman when I have to go over them in so much detail every week. Also, I mean, it's not like they make it difficult for me, because, I mean, they're retconning things right and left. I mean, they can't even keep continuity from one scene to the next, so, I mean, it's easy to remember that stuff when I have to keep constantly recalling these details, because they keep forgetting about them. Alright. Okay, I think we can probably wrap this up about now because I have to pee. I've been holding this in for the last 20 minutes. So yeah, I think we can call it there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm sorry about the audio problems at the beginning. Figured out what the problem was, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore. Also, thank you to anyone who's new, because sub growth had been flatlining for a couple of months there. I just could not get out of the box for some reason, but we've had a little bit of an uptick recently for new subs. I'm up to 39.7, 39,700, so if that continues, I might actually hit 40,000 before the end of the year, and I really want to hit 40,000. I've been shooting for that one for a long time now, still haven't made it. So I would love to hit 40,000 before the end of the year. So that's the goal right now. And who knows, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but I do appreciate everyone who's subscribed to the channel, anyone who's been here and who's supported me, and whatever it is that I do, I work really hard on this stuff, and I know sometimes my content output isn't as fast as I would like, because I could put this stuff out a lot faster, but honestly, if I did, it would suck, because my editing process has always been kind of slow, which it's unfortunate, but that's how long it takes me, because I'd rather take a little bit longer and put out stuff that's a quality I can be proud of, instead of just putting out something that I'm embarrassed to look at. So hopefully people understand, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to all our super chats. Thank you to Frankie in NYC, Eric Soul. Thank you, Xavier Cardi. Thank you very much. And thank you for you guys for tuning in. Well, we had more people than I thought would tune in for this. It's late night. I didn't have a lot of notice. They had like 24 hours notice because I'd only decided to do this late in the game. So I don't know if we'll be doing this next week. We'll see, I guess. But thanks again for everyone tuning in. I'm going to run to the bathroom now. So I'm going to try to do live streams a little bit more often. And, yeah, that's about it. I've got no outro. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to be setting this to private. Going to put it up on the live stream channel if YouTube will let me download it, so that's where it's going to be. The link will be in the description. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys real soon.